Welcome, fellow fans of Clash of Clans from around the world. It is your host, Galadon, and I am so excited to tell you Clash of Clans update. Clash of Clans update. We have got a Clash of Clans balancing update coming. All right, so, well, you know, maybe it's not the big update that we were all looking for, but it is a sign. It's a sign that something's moving, and I thought this was interesting that the date of this update is yet to be determined. So they have not told us the date of this balancing update, and they said in a maintenance. So is it possible this will be lumped in with a real update? Because, I mean, okay, Supercell Clash of Clans in their blog post did technically call this an update, okay? So you have to say that this really is an update. They're updating some stats for troops, and is it a big deal? For the most part, not really. I will go over each of these individually and we'll talk about them, but I don't think we're going to see a big change in the meta or attacking or defending really that much at all based upon what I've seen so far. Now, there are one or two that are interesting in here that could be exciting, but most of the rest are kind of like, meh. But it's one of those things where we have to let it play out, and once it's playable and we can see, is it really going to change things? We'll see. You never know. Sometimes there are surprises, especially the community using these slight changes to make big changes to a specific attack, but we'll wait and see. So let me go ahead and handle these individually. First of all, if you want to see the exact numbers, it was listed there in that blog post at the beginning of the video, but just kind of the meh stuff. The golems. Okay, now you'll notice that Supercell is continually trying to show golems more love. We saw balancing in the past recently, trying to make them more viable. They're still not viable, so Supercell hasn't given up. Golems are pretty much the Valkyries of 2016. Valkyries were pretty neglected back in the day, and I feel like that's kind of where golems are now. This change, it's DPS for the golems, and hit points for the Golemites, not really a major change, but the additional Golemite. At these top levels, Golems will break into 3 instead of 2. That right there is kind of the question mark in this balancing update. Could that be significant to have those 3 units on the field when a Golem breaks up? I don't know yet, but I don't feel like it's going to be huge, but we'll see. Is it going to bring Golite back? I seriously doubt it. Now, also under meh, I also included the Valkyrie buff. It is so small, it just feels insignificant. Yes, Valkyries have kind of fallen back into disfavor in most metas, so it's kind of sad because I do really like the Valkyrie and her attack mechanic is amazing, but I just don't think that this, again, is going to be enough. These are very gentle, very timid DPS changes and hit point changes that we're seeing in this update for the most part, and I just, again, don't think it's going to be enough to get players to change their attacks, to change their minds about attacks and defensive CCs, so we'll see. Now, there is this change to Hog Riders, and that's why I am showing, you'll notice specifically that these first 2 attacks that I'm showing are not just Hog Rider attacks, they're these mass Hog Rider attacks, and I think if I had to read Supercell's mind, and I can't, just saying. But I feel like that nerf is designed to nerf this attack specifically. And it's funny because if you look at the state of the game and the meta, especially in CWL and Elite Clan War, you don't really see full-on mass anything attacks. And I think that specifically the game team at Clash of Clans does not want to see mass anything attacks. So now that they're seeing this kind of enter the meta, it's not dominant, but it certainly is effective, and we are seeing it at this higher level of the game. I think that this is what they're trying to get rid of, and I actually think that this could make a difference, okay? I don't think that the Hog Rider nerf is going to be big enough to stop Queen Charge Hog Rider. I think that's a great attack. I love the way it is, but maybe, just maybe, when you've got 40 plus out on the battlefield, that slight hit point decrease is going to be enough to make this attack a little bit weaker. I think that's what Supercell is shooting for here. Again, I don't have inside information, but maybe we will talk to Darian about it and try to find out more specifically what they were thinking when they did this. So, you know, for me, I would hate to see Queen Charge Hog Rider go away. It is one of my favorite attacks to try. Try, you'll notice I said try, not like execute, because yeah, I still need some more practice, but it is a lot of fun when it works out. Queen Charge Hog Rider, so these mass Hog Rider attacks, possibly seeing a nerf. Again, it's one of those things where we're going to have to wait until after the update. And check out the skeletons. I still love this. The whole idea of the skeleton spell on the defending Archer Queen is amazing. Okay, so a couple of guys from Tribe Academy putting up the 3 stars with mass Hog Riders, and then we'll talk about the rest of the update balancing as Eve Mania drops down a more traditional Queen Charge Hog Rider right here. And again, I'm hoping hogs will still be effective overall when the balance change drops. Okay, now speaking of hogs, the old hog Galadon, yes, that's right. Now there is a more significant nerf than we're seeing in any of these other changes. Statistically, pretty major, and I feel like, well, okay, I saw it coming, and you know I saw it coming, and you know I've talked about this in previous episodes, and I've also spoken about it in live streams. I warned you guys, I warned you a couple of things, okay? First of all, I did say that hogs could see a nerf because Queen Charge Hog Rider is everywhere, and sure enough, we have one, although it is small. And I definitely said that hog gliders are crazy strong. Now, of course, they are an extremely high-risk, high-reward troop, but I do think that their propensity to execute 3-star attacks in the builder base, even at maxed out levels, is probably why we're seeing that big of a nerf. And yeah, unfortunately, such a cool troop to use, so fun. I think that this is really going to reduce the use of the Hog Glider, but a lot of these pro builder base players are more using the more predictable attacks with giants, barbarians, bombers, and things like that. So, you know, the Hog Glider, it's been a lot of fun, but yeah, I am predicting usage is going to drop as far as those guys are concerned. Now, moving on to some more significant changes, dragons. Now, I've got a dragon attack coming up in just a second, and I feel like this is going to be perhaps one of the biggest changes in this update. To see dragons get, at level 7, they get a 300 hit point buff. Now, that's nearly 10%, and I feel like the 10% number is kind of the difference between what is minor and what is major. When you see a greater than 10% change, that really usually leads to a change in the viability of a troop, either up or down. So I'm hoping the dragons will kind of come back a little bit, and maybe bats and dragons. You guys know I have been crushing it with P.E.K.K.A. Bobat lately. Of course, not so much in war, but in farming, it is a fantastic strategy. Although in Legend League, I've got an episode coming up where I do pretty well in Legend League with P.E.K.K.A. Bobat. Again, a high-risk, high-reward strategy that does rely upon some fundamental mistakes in the designing of a base. But hey, more often than not, especially in the low 5,000s, that happens. Okay, so dragons, yes, getting that big boost, and that about does it for as far as troop changes in this balancing update. Then we're also seeing a few defensive building changes. So as we get into Vale's dragon attack right here, we will talk about the Inferno Towers getting their DPS nerfed at levels 2 and 3 only. So lower level town halls dealing with the level 2 and 3 Inferno Towers. It's, you know, it's a pretty big nerf, I think, but I don't think it's really going to change much other than, as Itsu would say, make them less annoying. So it could be, especially when they're maxed out and they're burning away, big troops might last another second or so. So Inferno Towers, Teslas. Now this is one, the Teslas and the Mortars both got this 30 hit point buff. That doesn't seem significant, but take a look at this base and notice where the Mortar is. And this is where this holds true with most high level bases these days. You see so many players leaving the Mortars on the outside because they're simply not that great of a defense as far as DPS wise against most of the attacks that we're seeing these days. So what you're getting is a lot of attackers that are picking off Mortars, and then of course Teslas. And by the way, the length of time that Vale waited to use his Queen ability right there was absolutely driving me nuts. When I watched this attack for the first time, I cannot, he's got nerves of absolute steel to hold off that long before he finally used the Queen's ability. But okay, back to this Tesla and Mortar buff. So a little bit of a hit point buff, again, not really significant, less than 10%, but, and it's a big but, you've got these defenses that are usually placed on the outside of bases that are often being picked off by just one troop or maybe even one balloon. Now, I know Itsu talked about the idea of one balloon taking out a Tesla, and he believes that this change will actually make that no longer possible, that a single loon will no longer take out a single maxed out Tesla. That could be pretty major as far as elite war attacking and these players that are literally dropping one troop in an exact spot to take on a specific defense every single time they attack. Now, for the rest of us who don't have that much precision in our repertoire of Clash of Clans attacking, it isn't going to be as big of a change, but I feel like this was tailored specifically for a reason, and a lot of it is probably focused around the Clash of Clans World Championship qualifiers and the Worlds that are coming up in just about a month in Germany. They're trying to make sure that the balance is going to be just right, and I can bet you almost anything that this balance update is going to drop before the finals do in October. So this dragon attack was effective. Are dragons going to be moving their way back into the mainstream Town Hall 12 meta? I really hope so. What is going to happen to Hog Riders? Again, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about these changes. And I know you're all extremely ready, eager, and slightly impatient for a real Clash of Clans update. Believe you me, I am as well, so get ready. I will bring you the earliest and most accurate update information as soon as it breaks. So make sure you stay subscribed. Thank you for watching all the way to the end of the episode. You are the true #GalaFam. I love every gosh darn last one of you. Now get out there, make the best of the rest of your day. Be kind to people, be kind to animals, be easy on the planet, and I hope to see you all back here again tomorrow for more full attacks.
Galadon, did you say Clash of Clans update? Update or clickbait?